Hey, sis. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast that reminds you to bet on yourself. I am your host, Jasmine Gary, aka Pink Lady, and I use she, her pronouns. And this episode is with Casaundra Freeman. Cassandra is a professional actor and director for both the stage and your voice, and she is the founder of Work with Your Voice, the only professional voiceover training ground dedicated exclusively to Black women, the only one. And in this episode, we talk about Cassandra's voiceover work, her background, and how she helps Black women get into the industry. We also talk about grief and healing and how they show up in entrepreneurship. We talk about world schooling and Cassandra's move to Mexico from Detroit. We talk about creating strong boundaries in your business and in your life. And of course, we talk about betting on yourself. Cassandra gets really vulnerable when she talks about why she chose to move out of the US to Mexico. And she discusses intimate partner violence and the passing of her parents. And I know that these can be really sore subjects to hear about and discuss. So please, if that is true for you, please take your time when you're listening to this episode. And please, please, please give yourself grace. I know that this conversation will help you bet on yourself, sis.
Yeah. Bet on yourself, sis. Bet on yourself, sis. You've got the goal, confidence and style. Let your power show. So Cassandra, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for
Oh my
having
gosh.
me.
So I met you at the Afros and Audio conference, just to give a little
Yes.
background to the people of how I met you. And you told your story, you talked about what you do, you talked about your
Mhm,
business, and I was just like,
mhm.
yeah, I got to get her on the podcast. So
Oh, that's so
thank
wonderful.
you
That's
for
wonderful. I'm
being
glad this
here.
came out of that.
Yes.
After Audio was such a wonderful
Mm.
experience. It was my first
Okay.
time attending, and given that it was the last time, it was just bittersweet. It
Yeah.
was just a really, really great vibe, and
Yeah.
learned so much and so many networking opportunities. The opportunity to come and meet with you
Yeah.
now. It was wonderful space. Wonderful space. I
Absolutely.
would
Yeah, shout out to Talib.
shout out to
Okay,
him.
cuz
Yes, and the
yeah,
whole
the
team, and the
whole
whole
team
team.
absolutely.
The support team that he
Yeah.
had was really, really making it happen.
Yeah, they
So
do an amazing
hats
job,
off
and
to them.
again, like you
They
said,
do.
it's bittersweet. But I'm hoping that it'll blossom into something else
Into
amazing,
some other
right?
things.
Like
Yes.
we know it's
That's
not
what
the
I'm
end
hoping.
of it. It can't be the end of it because,
Absolutely.
like you said,
Cannot
the
be.
vibe is just always it's amazing. It's really amazing
It's
to
just
be around so many creatives, so many
like
Black
learn.
creatives, right? Like there's no other space like that.
Absolutely. The highest compliment I can give something is to compare something to like a family reunion, and it really was
Mhm.
like learning podcasting with
Yes.
your family. It's like maybe
Absolutely.
family you haven't seen in a while, maybe some you've never met before, but it
Absolutely.
was just so relaxed, and it's nice, especially in these times, to be
Mhm.
able to find a space that is curated and cultivated for Black people, centered around Black people, where you can just put your guard down and learn the thing,
Absolutely.
whatever the thing is. So
Right. And
it's
there's
just
so many different
amazing.
things, right? We
So
think of
many different things,
podcasting,
even within
podcasting is
podcasts.
just podcasting, right? No. There's so
Totally,
many different ways you can
totally,
go.
totally.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Mhm,
I think comparing it to a family reunion is so on point.
mhm.
Number one, the thing I always talk about, well, two things I always talk about from Afros and Audios, it's connections that I get to make, right? This
Oh
is
my
one,
gosh.
right? I've interviewed
Yeah.
so many people that I've met at Afros and Audios, and
Okay,
we're
okay.
collaborating in different ways, and it's
Wonderful.
amazing, right?
Mhm,
And then
mhm,
the vibe is just always like it's family. Like
mhm.
we never met before, but we family. We
Absolutely.
hugged, right? I'm a hugger, so
Mhm,
I always like
mhm.
kind of go in for a hug, but I don't be sure if people gonna hug me back, right? But always at Afros and Audios, I get that the that's my
Genuine,
auntie,
and
right?
it's
Like,
genuine. It's
yeah,
genuine,
yeah, it feels good.
It's genuine. Yeah, because
Yeah.
there can be a different kind of vibe where in some cities, I'm not going to say which ones,
Okay.
in
Okay.
some cities, you go and you network with people and you don't feel like you're even in the room with them, because
Mm.
it's almost like they're looking past you to see
Mm-hmm.
and judging whether or not you're important enough to continue talking to,
Ooh,
as they
yeah.
scan the room for who might be more important. Never feel that way there. I can't say
Mm.
never, but I didn't feel that way
Right.
there. And I
Yeah.
get the sense from the people who attended before, who, the people who reported back from attending before from the first time to last year being their first time, that that's the same takeaway that they had. It's just like, this
Absolutely.
is genuine, this is authentic, and that's
Absolutely.
always the difference.
And you guys, this is not a sponsorship or ad or anything for Afros and Audios. Like, they're not
Yeah,
paying
it's
us to
over.
say that. They're not paying us to say
At
none of
all,
that.
at all. I
Okay.
need to, as a matter of fact, I need to do my follow up, emails
Me
thanking
too.
them and whatnot.
I
I
got to do my
haven't done that
survey.
yet. I'm just
Yeah.
still basking in the glow of it. So yes,
Yeah.
no, that was
That,
not
yeah,
a
I just
paid.
wanted to put that out there. Like, I don't want y'all to think like, oh, y'all got paid to say this. No, this is just how we
Exactly.
really feel. It's
We did
genuine.
not. No, we did not. I do get paid to talk. I do get
Okay.
paid to promote stuff, but that wasn't it.
Okay.
That wasn't it.
Okay. And we're going to learn all about that because Cassandra, you
Yes.
have an amazing story. And let's just go ahead and dive into who you
Mhm.
are and what you do.
Yeah. So my name is Cassandra Freeman. I am an actor and a director on the stage and the voiceover booth. I've been acting for a long time. Well, I shouldn't say I've been acting since I was 14 years, or professionally acting since I was 14 years old. So 7 years now. That's all. That's all. That's just
just a
all.
measly
Just
7.
a
Yeah,
few.
yeah,
Just a few.
yeah.
But I have been for a long time, and primarily focused on the theater. Have done regional theater all across this country. Been a part of some amazing professional groups: the Alabama Shakespeare Company, Detroit Repertory Theater. I've performed everywhere, and while I was performing in a show, there was someone in the audience. It was another actor friend of mine who was doing audiobooks, and this
Mm.
was a long time ago. It's 20 years ago.
Uh-huh.
This is 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And he said, "You have a great voice. Have you ever thought about audiobooks?" And this is before, like, this is not present day where everybody knows what audiobooks are
Right.
and how you can kind of sort of get into them. I feel like there's a lot more knowledge now than there was then. It was a very exclusive group. This
Mm-hmm.
was at the point in time where you were still going into studios recording. Like, home studios were not a thing.
Yeah.
And if they were a thing, they weren't an accepted thing. Like,
Mm,
people
okay.
still had a lot of stigma around them because there was the idea that you could never make your home studio sound as good as a
Mm-hmm. Professional.
professional
Yeah.
studio. So I recorded a few books. I recorded The 100,000 Kingdoms,
Mm.
the N.K. Jemisin series, the Inheritance trilogy.
Yes.
I recorded that, and then some other things. And then I started doing more voiceover commercially. So started doing commercials and whatnot, and while still balancing my theater career. And then I had children, and so then directing became more of my thing because it doesn't require as much time as a theater actor
Yeah.
is obligated to the show from the beginning of rehearsal to the end of the run. And that's usually 6 days a week, sometimes two shows a day. Whereas with directing, I could get the thing launched and then take off
That's
and
it.
go do something else, right? And then hand the show over to the stage manager. Um, and and so then some stuff happened.
Mm.
I had children, and then the person that I had children with, we separated. And when that happened simultaneously with my parents getting sick,
Mm.
both having illnesses that they didn't recover from.
Mm.
And so by the time that both of my parents passed, and my mom passed in 2019, and my dad passed in 2021.
Oh.
And I remember distinctly I was sitting in the middle of a mediation session, and I was like, I don't want this to be my life, because I had been going through, this is fine. I had been going through a protracted custody battle for 7 years.
Mm.
And I was like, this will never end unless I end it. And so I gathered some resources and made some firm decisions that this was no longer, I was no longer going to engage with this. And then I decided that I had always had an idea that I wanted to world school my children. World schooling meaning homeschooling them in various parts of the world. So
Yeah.
an immersive experience, an immersive educational experience where they get to learn another language, learn about the culture by living there.
Mhm.
And so we did that. I decided that we would do that first in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico.
Mm.
And so I moved to Puerto Vallarta in 2022 just to heal, to heal from all the things that I had been experiencing, passing to my parents, some other tumultuous things, and to get some space, to get some peace. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? Because I certainly, I can't direct down there. I guess I could, I don't want to direct down there. And so I decided to go full on into voiceover. And so that's what I did. And I had absolutely no idea. It was a complete leap of faith. I had no clue whether or not my clients were going to follow me, whether or not, I didn't know. But I knew that I had the tools, I knew I had the equipment, I knew I had the expertise to make it work. And because the voiceover industry had changed so much since that first audiobook that I recorded to now, everyone has a home studio. I see your setup. It's very nice.
Thank you.
Um, Everyone has a home studio. That's the standard now, especially since COVID, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, well, if I'm doing this remotely here being Detroit, which I love Detroit, especially in the spring and summer. Um, why can't I do it anywhere else?
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to do it somewhere else.
Mm.
And so that's what I did. So it was a leap of faith, understanding that a move doesn't have to be permanent. If I get there and it doesn't work, we'll go somewhere else, or
Yes.
I'll come back here. Detroit will be here, or some other place will be here. And so I just really decided to believe in myself, bet on myself, bet on the fact that I had the ability to make life work for us abundantly wherever we wanted to be. And that just happened to be Puerto Vallarta. And I found an incredible community there. I
Mm.
mean, incredible.
Mhm.
As a single parent, as a single mom who, now doesn't have the foundation of having my parents who were incredible. I
Yeah.
mean, I would have never moved. Let me say this. I would have never moved had they still been alive because
Mm.
my children were their whole world.
Yeah.
My parents loved me down, loved
Mm.
me down. I didn't matter at all once these kids came along. When
That's
I
how it
tell
happens,
you,
right?
when I tell you, I'm like, lady,
They're like, "Who are you?"
I am named after you. I am literally, we have the same name. My name is
Mhm.
Cassandra. Her name was Sandra. I
Mm. Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I came over to my mama's house, my mama and daddy's house, and he peeked out. I saw him peek out. The Don't play me like this, people. Okay, I saw him peek out and look like she don't have the kids, and I heard him say, "I don't think she has the kids." This lady came to the door, cracked the door to the house that I grew up in. I got a room upstairs. What are you doing? And she said, "Where are they?" And I said, "They're not with me." Why not? The door is still cracked. I'm like, Mom, are you
She's
not
not
gonna
even
let
letting
me
you
in?
in.
She was like, well, you could, when you get them when you get them back, come back.
Wait a minute. Mm. Them grandparents don't play about their
At all.
grandkids. Oh
At
my
all.
gosh.
At all. At all. So I would
But
have
did
never
she
taken.
really not let you in, or she was like, "All
But
right, come on"?
she really did close that door. She really did close that door. I have a key. I could have come in if I wanted to, but the
Right.
sheer rejection.
But the
The
fact that she wanted you to know,
rejection.
like, you're not really welcome without your kids.
I
This is
mean, you
not
come
about
in if you
you.
want to. You technically have a key, so you can
Right.
let yourself in. Did I really raise you to be in an environment where you don't want to be, where you're not wanted? And right now, you're not wanted. You don't have the things that are necessary to come in here
Understood.
and be welcome. Come back when you have those things.
Got it. Got it.
So I'd have never left because they were their world. And
Yeah.
so their passing was really a bittersweet, it was a permission to explore and to try not to get too upset about that. But it was, it was like, I have to do this because you won't go. You won't go. You'll continue to deal with the things that you're dealing with. And I don't want that for you in a way. That's the way I've rationalized, the way I've rationalized that. So we did. We moved to Puerto Vallarta. It's just such a welcoming and warm community, especially the Black immigrant community. So it's a lot of Black people who have migrated there from the United States, from Canada, and you know how we find each
Oh
other.
yeah.
We find each other.
Oh
We
yeah.
did, and as a single mom, it's very important for me. For me, one of the reasons I chose Puerto Vallarta was because it's a tourist city, so I knew that English was spoken really well
Mm-hmm.
there. And at the time that we moved, my children's Spanish wasn't as good as it is now, and I'm always mindful of, if something happens to me, how do they get to safety?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I
Absolutely.
wanted them to be in a situation where, if in the event that something happened to me, unforeseen or whatever, because life happens, can they get somewhere where they can then get home to the family that I have left?
Absolutely.
And so I chose Puerto Vallarta for that reason. But we moved into an area that wasn't the main tourist area where all of the Americans live. We moved into a neighborhood. So their Spanish got really good really fast. They were able to make friends and,
Yeah.
take music classes. It was just became this really beautiful experience. And while I was there, I set up my home studio, and just continued working because PV is not it's not that half of the year it's on Chicago time, it's on Central Time,
Okay.
and then the other half of the year is on Mountain Time. So it's really no different than being like in California if I were to go. And then spatially it worked because it still allowed them to get back and forth to their other parent if they needed to,
Okay.
or if he wanted to come and visit, then he could do
Yeah.
that. I didn't want to create a situation where I was keeping them from him. Rather, I wanted to be able to do both, to
Mm-hmm.
be able to have them explore and also have them accessible,
Yeah.
so that they could maintain their relationship with him, whether I wanted to or not.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
uh so yeah, so that was part of it. And so then my career blossomed, and while I was doing that, I caught the attention of the folks at Exodus Summit. And Exodus Summit is it's a group just for Black women who are interested in moving abroad or taking a career break. And I met with one of the founders, and I thought we were just having a casual conversation. And I think she was vetting me, because the
Mm-hmm.
next thing I knew, she was asking me to appear on a panel about world schooling my kids and about moving abroad with my children. And in the course of preparing that talk, and just trying to encourage Black women to take a chance on themselves. You have
Yeah.
so much talent, everything you need, everything you want to do, you've already got access to, truly. And so I was just saying that, and then people were like, "Well, what do you do? How are you supporting yourself?
Right. You got to make
All this
money in
is
this
great,
world,
but
so.
somebody has got to feed those children.
Mm-hmm.
How
Mm-hmm.
are you doing
We
that?"
know the
And I was
kids
like,
like to
"Oh,
eat.
girl, they don't. This boy,
Okay, I know. Well, I don't have kids yet, but I have nieces and
15
nephews, and
year old son."
mm, mm,
Uh, they grow, right? They have to. You got to do things, and you're
yeah,
doing things abroad. What was beautiful about the experience abroad, though, is it's just much more affordable.
key.
Um,
That's a key.
it's so much easier to live. And that's not to
Mm,
discount the fact that it's a struggle for people who are already there. I'm mindful of gentrification.
yeah,
I'm mindful of all of those things, and the harm that is invariably done when people move into a different area.
yeah,
I tried to personally combat that by volunteering. So I would teach preschool classes. I would teach English. I would teach, just
Yeah.
all across the city to children who needed it. Um, did a little bit of speech training with some kids and whatnot. Tried to lend my service, the things that I know that I'm good at,
Yeah. You
to the
immerse
community.
yourself in the community, right? That's how yeah.
Absolutely. That's what you do.
Yeah.
That's what you do. You pay back to the community that's giving you so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I explained to them that I was a voice actor, and it always strikes a chord with folks. It always,
Mm.
I anticipated the whole, oh, I've always wanted to do that. How do you
Yeah.
get into that? People have always told me I've had a good voice. I anticipated that. I did not anticipate 300 women. Like, hey,
Okay, ready.
what you say? I was like,
Ready.
oh, because I was just here to talk about these kids.
Uh-huh.
That's just a
Uh-huh.
lot, you right? And
Yeah.
I was overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed. I felt a lot like there's the woman that We Do Not Care Club. Have you seen that, where she's talking about perimenopause and people get together? But anyway, when she
No.
started that, people just kind of latched on to the
Okay.
idea, and she's like, I backed off because I got so overwhelmed. I feel like I did that,
Mm.
but when I didn't back off permanently, I came back, and what formed out of that initial interest was 60. I took on 60 Black women
Mm.
who had never done any kind of acting or any kind of voice work,
Yeah.
because what I did was I surveyed the industry as it were, right? As it was. And I looked and I saw that there was nothing specific to us. That's not to say that you can't go and find some amazing training, but nothing was curated and centered around us.
Yeah.
Everything required that you kind of submit to the idea that your particular dialect, that your particular way of speaking, your culture, your whatever is substandard.
Mm.
That's just what it is. I'm not trying to, throw a dig at anybody. That's just what it is that invariably, if you're not working with someone who understands and believes your culture to be equally as important as their own,
Mhm.
there's going to be a level
Hmm.
of, um, yeah, they're going to try to make you feel substandard in some way, shape, or form. So not only are you learning this new skill, but you're having to perform
Yep. Yeah.
just to learn the thing.
Hmm.
And I didn't want that. I knew I had the ability across the board to be able to teach them front to finish how to go from being interested in voiceover to working professionally in it. So for the last 2 years, that's what I've been doing,
Yeah.
by offering, home studio setup, also, training in all of the different voiceover niches, acting training, um, just exposing them to what it is to be a professional and working voice actor. So I've been doing that while taking care of my children. And I really wondered whether or not I was going to have if whether or not it was going to be a fruitful experience to try to move my voiceover career abroad. And it was. I ended up doing some campaigns that I'm really, really proud of.
Nice.
And one would never know that I wasn't where I was before. I
Yeah.
just had to, I got to tell you, it was just surreal
Hmm.
to wake up sometimes, go have a cup of tea, do my normal warm up, right? Go downstairs to my voiceover studio, record a spot, be paid well for that spot, and then walk to the beach and spend the rest of the day at the beach with my children. Like,
Okay.
let's meet
Mm.
your Spanish tutor on the beach.
Mm.
Have like that was my whole real life.
Yeah.
And if it's possible for me, it's possible for anyone. And so
Mm.
I just think what we're doing now is just learning how to fuse the experience that our members have with some niche of voiceover. So we have um, we have one member, Valerie, who is a vice principal at a school, and so training her on how to do e-learning, because you've been teaching for 50, 11 billion
Right.
years.
Yeah.
We have a member, Lady Sharice, who comes with CEO experience. So corporate narration works for her. We have another member named Alex who is bilingual. You know, we have a few members who are bilingual: Alex, Yarian, Aurora, who they're focusing on that. You know, how can they explore their ability to speak multiple languages
Yeah.
with this thing? And so, like Alex has already done an audiobook in Spanish. This is a woman who didn't know anything about voiceover at all for before meeting me. Um, Other members, you know, Donna and it just LaDonna. It's just so many people. Yoli, who's interested in animation, just teaching them to fuse their interests and their expertise with this thing. You know, that
Yeah.
it's not such a wide leap, it's not such a jump. You don't have to feel like you don't know anything. You're coming with years and years of experience
Yeah.
in lots of other fields, and let's just figure out how to transfer it. Clarissa, one of our members, Clarissa, has narrated 3 audiobooks
Mm.
at this point, and this is someone, she has a very distinct dialect, because she has, it's like a fusion of New York and Gullah Geechee, and
Okay.
she would have been told, because of her particular idiolect, that this wasn't the field for her.
Hmm.
But because of training that is centered around us, then I was able to show her that, you know, that's not true. That's not
Yeah.
true. You can absolutely positively do anything that you can think of. Let's just figure out, you know, the path to do that. And then we just also have fun. You know, we just be, you know, cutting up. Last
Yeah.
night we had a meetup with Adrienne Livingston, who is she's the audio description narrator for Sinners. She came and chatted with us last night. We're gonna have some improv training coming up. Where, you know, we've done some amazing things
Yeah.
already, and we've done it in community. We've done it with everything being centered around Black women, and that is unique in
Mm-hmm.
this industry. You know, so and in doing so, we're reshaping it and redefining it, that this does not have to be something that you feel like you're on the outside of. This can absolutely be something, one, that is attainable, you know, and something you can do, and something you can do well from wherever you are, wherever you've
Yeah.
started from, you know. So it's a beautiful thing to see Black women start to believe in themselves again,
Mm. Mm.
because so
Mm-mm-mm.
many of us get
Yes.
all of that beaten out of us by the time
Mm-hmm.
we get to a certain age, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to do your little podcast. Well, it's got to
Mm-hmm.
be little. Why you being reductive about
Okay.
my stuff? Like, what is? We get that. We
Mm-hmm.
don't prioritize ourselves. You
Mm-hmm.
know, the children become more important. The partner becomes more important. The
Yep.
job becomes more important. Just existing um, becomes more important, and we slip so far down the list. And this, being a part of this community, helps them to set aside time that is just for them. I
Yeah.
insist on it. I insist on it. You make 15 minutes a day to work at this thing. Tell everybody, and get into the practice of making people respect your time and your boundaries,
Absolutely.
right?
Ah,
The children got to
yes.
understand, no, you can't come in here right now.
Yep.
Whatever it is that you need, you will need in 15 minutes when I'm done, right?
Yeah.
Partner can't come in here right now. But, you know, whatever it is, you can't turn the phone off. Do the whatever the thing is, so just so you can get into the practice of making the thing that is important to you important to everybody else,
Yeah.
right? And then
Yes.
it makes it so much easier to focus, and then you have the space to become good at it.
Mm.
Because when how do you become good when nobody is ever allowing you the space to
Right.
practice the thing, right?
Exactly.
And do the thing. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah. You said
yeah.
so much in that is just
Yeah.
so like really no complaints. That was not a
Okay.
complaint. I'm like I just want to go back to a few things because like I feel so much of what you said. I
Hmm.
love the I love that what you do is taking it from like thought to okay, this is how you do it. Right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times that's
Yeah.
the hardest part, right? We have this idea, but it's like okay, what do I do? I have no
Right.
idea. And then we go
Right.
one place to learn and it's like, that's not really a good fit. And a lot
Right.
of the times we're turned off. It's like, okay, that wasn't a good fit.
And
I
it turns you
guess
off
I'm
from the
not
thing
supposed to
completely.
exactly. I guess I'm not supposed to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. No. Right? But
Because the other
no.
one more thing to add
Yeah, go
to the
ahead.
already growing list is affordability.
Mm. Mhm.
Voiceover can be a rich white man's game,
Okay.
just to be clear. Okay? Because after the equipment, the coaching, the training, the all of the things, you look in, I mean, the startup costs can be whoo, especially
Mhm.
if you get the equipment that a lot of people push and they push that.
Of course.
Well, yes, because yes, it's great equipment, but also many of them have affiliate links,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We
right?
know.
So the higher ticket items will yield them more of a return.
Mhm.
You don't have to start there. Not to
Yeah.
start. Yeah, work your way there. Sure.
Ugh,
Do the thing. And then when you start making money, reinvest.
that's what I tell my
Get the
clients.
better equipment when it makes sense. But if you go in and you have bought the studio and bought the microphone, $1,000 microphone, $3,000 microphone, $600 interface, the
Mhm.
treatment, the girl, those that Orlex behind you
Mhm.
will run you a pretty penny. So the foam treatment, the setting up, all of that,
Yeah.
and you don't even know how to get a client. You don't even know how
Yes.
to do an audition. You don't know how to submit to anything. And the other thing is that a lot of people, a lot of groups will launch you into a demo that you're not ready for.
Mm.
The whole
Mhm.
point of a demo is to demonstrate that these are the skills that you have,
Mhm.
right? So if you cannot replicate what's on that demo because somebody else did it for you,
Hmm.
what is the point? And now you out of a couple of $1,000s for that demo, right? And now you're looking at all of this expense, no return. You don't feel any more grounded in your knowledge of the industry, and it can be a turnoff. So you end up
Mhm.
selling the equipment. You end up giving up on the thing, or
Mhm.
the equipment sits and it becomes your second closet. Now you got the jeans you ain't worn in 20 years hanging on your microphone, your $1,000 microphone, right?
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
am insistent upon more affordable equipment to start.
Yeah.
And when you're ready, right, you can always scale up, right? You can
Absolutely.
always do more when it starts to make sense. But you have got to learn the skills because voiceover is a craft.
Mm.
It's a craft. You
Yeah.
have to learn how to do the thing in lots of different ways for it to make sense for you and also figure out how it fits into your life. Where those
Mm.
15 minutes going to come from? First of
Mm.
all, let's start there
Yeah.
because most Black women are running their household.
Okay.
So where
Mhm.
between getting up, getting the kids together, or getting to work if you don't have children, whatever the thing is, right? Where are you going to steal this 15 minutes from? Because it's got to come from somewhere. Something's going to have to get sacrificed. Or
Absolutely.
what is it going to be, right? So being
Yeah.
practical about all of that so that they can really see themselves in the thing
Mhm.
as opposed to it just continuing to be some abstract thing that you're looking at other people doing and never getting the opportunity to see it and apply it for yourself. I'm insistent
That
upon.
is so important. That is so
Mhm,
important because a lot of the times we, again, right, we get the idea and it's like, how? How? What is even
mhm,
the first step? What do I even do? Right? I have no idea what I even do. And you have that covered, right?
mhm,
You're
mhm.
gonna tell the first step. But even before we get to the first step, how does this fit into your life? We're gonna figure out how to personalize
Let's
it
figure this
for
out.
you, right?
And let's do
Mm.
that before you sink a whole bunch of money in.
Okay,
So
that's a key.
my first step is I've come up with something called the 1, 2, 3s of VO.
Okay.
Here's what it all is. These 10
Yes.
steps. And this is what each one of them means,
Yeah.
right? And now you can
Y'all, I
decide
hope
from
y'all got
here
pen and paper or your
if
notes or
you
something.
if
Like,
you want to
write this down.
from here, if you want to jump into this thing, because this is what it is,
Yeah.
and a lot of people are like, thank you very much. And I'll stay on the email list, but I'm not
I'm
ready.
good.
Not what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Nope, nope, nope. And then others are like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But we ease into the thing because 70% of Black women run their households. We got real bills. We got big girl bills.
Okay.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it because I live it. And it would have been great to have had a community when I was coming along that recognized and valued that, rather than thinking that my inability to give everything to voiceover
Mm.
was a lack of interest. Is
Mm.
how
Right.
how right. So it's nice to be able to shape something around that reality, around
Yeah.
our reality, without having to make excuses.
Yeah.
And it's nice to be able to just come and, I don't say let our hair down, I say let our hair out.
Okay.
Let our hair
Yes.
out, right? Out the bonnet, out the whatever,
Yes.
out the scarf, out the hair tie, and just and learn
Yeah.
and be in community and tell jokes that only we get,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it's just it's so great. It's so
Yeah.
great. It's so great. And I'm grateful um to our founding members for sticking through. I'm grateful to
Mm.
our newer members for wanting to come on board. And I'm so happy that this space exists for
Yeah.
us now, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that it's
Absolutely.
comparable to anything, if not better
Okay.
than anything that is out there right now,
Yeah.
as far as voiceover training is concerned. Hmm.
Absolutely. I love what you're saying and I love what you're doing. You're talking about customization, you're talking about community, right?
Hmm.
Hey y'all, Pink Lady here. I'm a podcast producer, director, coach, and host. And I want to tell you all about my production company, Pink Lady Productions. We collaborate with creatives like you who are driven to share your message by launching your podcast from A to Z and coaching you through the process. To learn more about our services, check out our website at pinkladyprod.com. That's PINKLADYPROD.com.
Let's talk about like building your business while being a mom, while taking your kids on this
Yeah,
journey. And you
yeah.
said worldwide education or something like that. What was the
World school,
world
world
schooling? I
school.
love
Yeah,
that. I never
yeah,
even thought about my partner and I were having a conversation the other day about different curriculums and things like that. And I never had even a
yeah,
thought about like a worldview curriculum, like,
yeah,
and that's such a
yeah.
cool thing. So please talk more about that and talk about like the transition from here to
Hmm.
there.
So I always wanted to do it because I am someone who had lived abroad
Mm,
before as a young person, and then first of all, I didn't think I could have kids. They told me I couldn't have
mm,
kids. I
okay.
have PCOS.
Okay.
And so I was told that I was going to need to take, IVF or something like that if I wanted to have children. And I was like, I'm good. I
Because that stuff is
don't want
very
children.
expensive
I don't
and
want children because I had been told since I was very young that I couldn't have them. So
mm,
I didn't ever envision my life. I didn't grow
mm,
up socializing myself or being socialized to even believe it was a possibility.
okay.
So when my son came along, it was a complete surprise. Where are you doing here? What? Child? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I was 3 months pregnant. Because I was tiny then.
Okay.
I was tiny. And I was approaching 30.
Okay.
So I'm an actor. And actors can rationalize anything. I don't know if you know that. But I mean, we can make anything shake, right? And so when I tell you I had all of the classic signs of being pregnant, I mean, all of them: morning sickness, cravings. And I attributed it to stress and
Mm,
getting older.
okay.
Of course,
Okay.
I was in the middle of a move to Chicago. I'm, this is not, this is just regular weight gain.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm getting bop, 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 bop.
Yeah.
So I went to the doctor. He said, you about 12 weeks.
Oh my.
I said, 12 weeks to what? To what? When I tell you, I didn't believe it until I went and had an ultrasound. And I said, what?
Wow.
And my son was in there bopping around.
Oh
And
man.
then they are 2 years and one day apart.
Mm,
And then she came along, and I was like, oh, this was always possible. So that
mm,
is actually part of my my personal philosophy and my psychology as well, because I had been told my whole life I couldn't do this thing
Yeah.
that I could always do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Was always capable of it. Not a drop of any kind of medication.
Mm.
And those two people are in these rooms behind me, studying and doing this thing that, and I was told that their existence
Mm.
and my part in their existence wasn't possible.
Yeah.
So after the birth of my son, and then the realization that my daughter was coming along, that really did shift a lot of the things that I thought were possible for me.
Yeah.
And so when they came along, I was like, well, let's just broaden that. Why do we have to stay in a traditional environment for
Yeah.
learning? We don't. Let me look into what that means. What does homeschooling mean? And different states have different
Mm-hmm.
rules, so you have to make sure that you are in compliance with your state. But my particular state is pretty open. So then I was like, well, why can't we go beyond the state?
Yeah.
Then why can't we go beyond the country? And why can't we do this?
Mm.
And why can't we can? We can.
Yeah.
Who's stopping it?
Hmm.
Just figure out a way to fund it, right? Figure out a way to sustain it, and then make that their reality. And I'm really happy that they have such a broad perspective
Yeah.
now. My daughter and I were talking about a trip that we took to Guadalajara,
Mm.
and she was like, it's so crazy because I was trying to talk to my friends about it, and they were like, where?
Yep.
And this is a place that she knows well.
Yeah.
We traveled there a few times, so it was just accepting the only limitations that I really have on myself are the ones I put on
Yes.
myself. You know, yeah,
Yes.
and then teaching them to believe that as well. So
Absolutely.
that's the whole premise behind world schooling is going to the places rather than reading about them,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
experiencing the places rather than just hearing about it. Vicariously, really immersing ourselves in
Yeah.
those experiences, and also because we come from, we're from Detroit, which is a blackety black 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 city.
Mm-hmm.
It was really nice to give my children an immigrant experience
Mm-hmm.
where we're not the
Right.
majority.
Yeah.
We're not in a position of privilege here. We are in other ways, but it's not. You have to acclimate, and you have to do what's necessary to be accepted,
Yeah.
and to contribute to this community that you've volunteered to come to. And
Yeah.
also teaching them to be appreciative of that, to not be
Yes.
ethnocentric, to
Yes.
not take the ideas that exist here and think that you're just going to transplant them onto somebody else in their country,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in their neighborhood, with their
Mm-hmm.
language, and think that they're supposed to acquiesce to you. It's been very, very important that they understand,
Yeah.
right, that they're not the center of every world. They're the center of my world, but they're not the center of every
Right.
world, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I love that you're a possibility model. Because a lot of
Mhm.
the times we don't know that we can do it until we see somebody
That's really
like
all it is.
us do it,
That's it.
right?
That's
So
it.
you're that possibility model, and people can look at you and because even me, like I'm thinking like I've always wanted to travel. I'm thinking about me and my partner talking about marriage, right? We're talking about having children. Always wanted to travel with my children, always wanted to be able to like show them different cultures and things like that. So
Absolutely.
it's like you doing that, and you're an
Yeah.
entrepreneur, you're a black woman entrepreneur too, so it's like
Mhm,
you,
mhm.
girl, I am following you. Like
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
I because I
Yeah,
can see you do it, I know it's absolutely possible for me.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And then, the entrepreneur thing, I didn't really think about that as much as it was. I thought about that less about like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
and more about I'm going to pursue my freedom. Because I worked
Yes.
and because I'm from Detroit, everything in Detroit is kind of centered around the automotive industry. If
Okay.
you don't work for the big three, you work for one of the suppliers
Okay.
or one of the consultants or one of the medical providers. You know what I'm saying? Like something
Yeah.
is attached to the automotive industry. So I started my career in corporate, at GM, as a buyer. And then I was like, my talent is going to get lost in a company this big. I'm going to go to a smaller company.
Okay.
I went to a smaller Japanese firm that got bought out by a big company three
Eh.
months later because I wasn't watching the trades. So, ended up right back there. And then in 2005, 2006, when the automotive industry took a downturn, they were looking for folks to take a buyout.
Mm.
And I was like,
Mhm.
and they were, I'm sorry, I'm
Yeah. This
pointing to
one
my head
here.
for folks who need audio description. Yeah. Um, and so I took it, and I didn't have anything except for this show. I was doing a kids show. I had dipped back into acting at that point, and I had taken on a kids show that was paying $50. And I was leaving a company that was paying me six
Mm.
figures in my 20s. But when I tell you, I was like, if I can make this little $50 show happen, I can make something else happen. And then something else after that. And then something else after
Yeah.
that. And I walked out of that company, and I remember walking past a guy that I always passed on the way to lunch. You know, he was always coming and I was going, or vice versa. And I must have been glowing. Oh, I must have been glowing because he said, "Where are you going?" And I was like, "Home." And I walked out of there, and I have been doing some form of acting since then, since
Mm.
2006. Some form of it.
Yeah.
Some I do before I really got into voiceover, and before I started Work with Your Voice Black Woman Edition. I would do applied theater,
Okay.
where I would work with universities who were training physicians on how to have better relationships with their patients, and yeah, and I would use applied theater. So we would create these simulated experiences where they would have to communicate bad news
Got it.
to
Okay.
me, right? Your loved one has passed, or you have
Mm.
this thing, right? And then take their experiences, their worst fears, and then spring it back on them. So what are
Mm.
you most afraid of if a patient responds like this? And then I do
Yeah.
the thing,
Wow. Okay.
right? And then they have to be confronted with how to handle it responsibly, how to handle it carefully,
Yeah.
and that's been a running theme in my career as a Black woman, and even in that space, teaching physicians how to be careful with Black people is very important to me, and in any space that that I occupy. I think that this country has gotten very, very much accustomed to being able to handle us carelessly, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you have people who have been dispersed throughout the world for for the sole purpose of exploitation and abuse,
Mm-hmm.
it can be very, very easy to think that everything about them doesn't matter. And I do my best to model that. No, no, no. You must be careful with us, with our children, with our dreams, with us. It is a requirement. So being able to model that in different spaces throughout my entrepreneurial career has been important. So yeah, it's been some form of acting since 2006. Whether it's just me on my own, as a stage actor or as a director, or stepping more into voiceover, doing that on my own, and then launching this group. It's always centered around acting, and centered around be careful with us.
Okay. Yes. I love it because that's the key right there. That is the message. Be
Listen,
careful with us.
and teaching us to
Period.
do that
Oh
too,
yes. Oh yes.
because the way we
Yeah.
can internalize some of these things
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
is a lesson in and of itself, right?
Yeah.
That you first learn to be careful with you. So again,
Love
this is
that.
why respecting your time is important. No, you teach them
Yeah.
that they can't come to you right now.
Yeah.
You love them still. You will love them in 15
Yep.
minutes when you're done.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you talked about like the freedom piece of being an
Mhm.
entrepreneur. But there's a responsibility piece and a
Oh,
gratitude piece also.
baby.
So yeah,
Oh,
you want
baby,
to
wait.
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm excited.
Because what? Freedom ain't free.
Okay.
Freedom is not
Ooh.
free. Freedom is structure.
Mm,
Freedom is discipline.
yes.
Freedom is being careful.
Yeah.
Freedom is understanding your budget.
Mm,
Freedom is being realistic about your spending. Freedom is making those meetings. Nobody's coming.
mm,
When you're an
mm,
entrepreneur, no one's
mm,
coming. Your boss ain't coming
mm,
to
mm.
remind you that the report is due.
Oof.
The people who report to you are not coming to see what the results are. No one is coming. You got to come for you.
Yeah.
You have to support you. You have to be aware that if you don't get up and create the thing, do the thing, maintain the thing, there will be no thing.
Yep.
There will be no thing.
Yeah.
And in this climate where we are struggling to, I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know. Let's chat about this
Okay.
because I always struggle with. I have always struggled with the term diversity.
Okay. Okay.
Always struggle with
Talk
it
about it.
because it implies a white standard.
Hmm. Okay.
Diverse from what? From what? Diverse from
Mm.
what? I don't know. So as we
Okay.
struggle to, I think, impress upon others how important we are, remind them of what our contributions are to this country, to industries, to this world. Um, it can be tough to battle that thing and be responsible, right? You can
Mm.
get lost in trying to prove who you are. So it's really just balancing, I think,
Mm.
both sides of it,
Yeah.
right? Remembering that you have to do this for you, not because you're proving anything to anybody else, but because it's necessary for you. And that's enough.
Yes. Yes.
That's enough. You know, we all want, mainstream growth. We all want the check
Okay.
that comes along with that. But also, I think sometimes it's also about recognizing our own value
Mm.
outside of anyone else's definition of what
Yeah.
that is, right? That your podcast is equally as important as the biggest one
Mm.
for you and your listeners and
Yeah.
your audience. And that's enough until you get to whatever the next thing is. And
Mm-hmm.
then that'll be enough. And so, you know what I mean? Yeah, that the
Yeah.
expansion and the growth comes from within, not
Yeah.
from seeking it out.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
I love that. I just in another conversation podcast episode, I think this was the episode with Ashana Jante, so I will put it in the show notes for everybody to listen. We talked about like there's a balance between we talked about like accepting yourself, right? But
Yeah. Yeah.
also making goals and always striving to be better, right? Like
Always.
it's a balance between, right? Like yes, I need to accept all of me, everything about me. We were talking specifically about like her journey with her body and weight loss and things like that. So she was saying like,
Give me her name. What is it?
okay,
Jasmine.
I'll send you her info. I got
I
you.
do.
Because she was saying like, you got to accept everything, got to accept all the rolls and the chunky and all of that, right? But also making goals to change that,
Hmm.
right? So it's kind of
Hmm.
like what you're
Hmm.
saying, it's the responsibility, right? Like you want to
Yep.
have that freedom and and you deserve that and all of that, but it starts with like knowing your value first and letting that
Absolutely.
be enough.
That's enough. That's
Mm,
enough. That's a very interesting
that's
thing because
yeah.
I struggling with weight loss. When, like I said, when I had this little boy,
Mm.
I
Yeah.
was a cool, nah, I don't even know. I might have been 110,
Mm.
maybe, you know? Um, so the little pooch that I was developing wasn't so noticeable because it was the only thing
Right.
on me. Um, but now having accepted that that is not my body anymore, as we struggle with body positivity in society, right?
Mhm.
In the second that you say something about yourself that you might want to change, that people interpret that to mean that you're not satisfied with yourself. That's not what it is at
Mhm.
all.
Mhm.
It's that I know that I feel better when I'm this weight. I know that I feel like I look better to me. I don't care what nobody else.
Right.
To me, right? That I want this for me.
Yeah.
I can simultaneously accept that this is where I am and that this is the body that allowed these two people to be possible, along with some donuts, right? Also, that I need to be disciplined enough to get back to doing those things,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then healing the parts of me that's seeking the donuts
Mhm.
because I'm still grieving,
Mhm.
because I'm still healing, right? And recognizing those things as opposed to running from them. That
Yeah.
is yes and,
Yeah.
right? Yes,
Yes, and
I love this.
absolutely.
I love this as I am, and I
Yes.
want to do something else. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, two things
Yeah.
can be true. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So I want to take it back to mindset of like the pivot of,
Yeah.
your both your parents had passed away, and
Mhm.
you said it like gave you the permission to leave, right? But I
Mhm.
know it
Mhm.
wasn't like a 1 2 3, right? Things don't happen like
No.
that. I know it
No.
happened over time, and I know there were probably a lot of mindset shifts that you had to
Yeah.
make before the pivot and
Yeah.
all of that. So if you could just talk
Mhm.
us through like some mindset shifts that you had to make, some
For
challenges
sure.
you had to overcome.
Yeah. I can't talk about this without talking about a particular thing. I realize I'm accepting yes and this is part of my journey.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is I'm a survivor of IPV, right? I'm intimate partner violence, what some people call domestic violence. The interesting part of my journey is that most of what I experienced was psychological.
Mm,
And as a creative, as an artist, that was incredibly destructive to
mm,
me, right?
yeah.
Because and I think that I struggled so much with this because black women in particular are not usually allowed the space to experience that,
Mm,
because of the nature of how we have been dispersed throughout this world. We are expected to withstand circumstances that are far beyond what we should withstand.
mm,
When we see it we see it when we appear in court. We see it when we experience different things, and people come out, people who are supposed to help us come out to the house, and then we end up being the victims,
yep.
having called for help. We end up being not believed because we don't have the physical markings of it, or the physical markings are not extreme enough for us.
Yep.
We got to be beaten within an inch of our
Yep.
lives for somebody to take us seriously. We have to have mountains of evidence,
Mm,
whereas other folks can cry
yep.
and get the response
Yep.
and the help that they need.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very difficult for me to, one, understand that what I was experiencing was what I was experiencing,
Mm,
because we've been taught to endure so much more than we should have to.
yeah.
And we've been taught things that are not love, are love
Mm, mm-hmm.
is love. We've been taught if he's providing, what are you complaining about?
Mm-hmm.
If he's, or they, she, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are you really complaining about? At least,
Yep.
I say this now. If I get somebody who tell me, at least
Mm,
you would ever expect me to take the least that somebody has to
mm,
give?
mm.
If you ever expect me to take the least that somebody has to give, know that that will be the last time.
Hmm.
You can drop the E. It will go from least to last. That'll be the last time I conversed with you. That's done. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. If you ever expect that I should be comfortable with the bare minimum.
Mm,
And so I had to accept that this is what I was experiencing, while simultaneously allowing for a relationship to continue to happen with the people that I made with this person.
mm,
And that was very, very difficult.
mm.
It was difficult creatively because I mean, with your podcast, listen, be distracted if you want to, and let's see how the editing on that podcast goes. Let's see how it goes. Let's
Oh
see how it
my
goes.
gosh, because I've done it.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-mm.
When you got 50 billion things on your mind, you're
Yeah.
stressed out, you can't, and you trying to listen for
Mm-hmm.
a click, you trying to listen for a hiss, you trying to make a conversation make sense. It makes sense to you because your brain is all over the place,
Mhm.
but it's not going to make sense to your listeners. And that was what I was experiencing. So it blocked a lot of my creative growth.
Yeah.
And so I had to, one, accept the fact that I needed help, and that even as a Black woman who didn't have the physical markings of what I was experiencing, that I still needed to come to terms with what I was experiencing and get away from it and have the permission and give myself the permission
Yeah.
to seek peace, right?
Yeah.
So that was one pivot. It all kind of converged though. One day, we were in mediation for the seventh year in a row,
Mm.
and we were meeting about something so ridiculous. It was so ridiculous. And I knew that it was only because he liked the chaos.
Mm.
He liked taking me through it. Take me through that. Take me through it. It was I
Mhm.
was going through it.
Mhm.
And so I remember saying, this will be the last time.
Mm.
This will be the last time. And shortly after that, I just like kind of the grief, it kind of heaped and piled on, and I don't know if I had a breakdown, but I remember crying out, "What am I going to do?"
Mm.
And as clearly as I've ever heard God's voice,
Mm.
it's like right here on my right shoulder. I kid you not. I heard a strong, clear voice, damn near in my ear, say, "Move."
Mm.
And I was like, what? And I like moved away. Like I
Mm.
recoiled because I could hear it so clearly. And I remember turning around. I knew I was the only one in the room, but I
Mm.
felt, I was like, and I looked up, and on the television was an advert for Puerto Vallarta.
Mm.
So it all just kind of
God. Mm.
came together. I'm not recommending that to anybody. I'm not saying break down in the middle of your living room and
Right,
wait for
right, right.
a sign,
This is not
right? Wait
advice.
for a commercial. This is not advice. This is just what I
Yeah.
experienced. But I knew enough to know, okay, well, I'm just going to see what that means,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
And so then as I started to explore the city, I was like, oh, this is really cool. Oh, it's right by the beach. Oh, this will be good because I'm a Pisces and I'm
Mm.
from Detroit. Water is
Yeah.
everything. I need to have that healing experience. And so I was like, this will be really cool. And things just really started to fall into place.
Mm.
Started looking into things, and it was ultimately a Black woman who helped me find my house,
Okay.
find everything. And I had the softest landing
Mm.
that anyone could have. And I think it was because I was obedient
Mm.
and I trusted in all of the things that had built me up until that point.
Yeah.
And I believed that I deserved the space to be whole.
Mm.
And I didn't feel that I could get that where I was,
Yeah.
you know. And then things started to happen. So if I could offer advice to someone, it would be to to recognize that what you're experiencing is enough to seek the peace and the healing that you need,
Mm.
or whatever it is that you need to
Mhm.
come out of that. Maybe it's not a bad experience that you're, whatever you want is sufficient.
Yeah.
Whatever you want is enough for you to pursue it.
Mm.
However, whatever that means, you don't need permission from anybody else. You need to give yourself the permission to pursue what you want. And I think that's the lesson
Mm.
that I can offer anyone. And that when you get there, you probably already have the things that you need to be able to make something work.
Mm. Well, I don't know who else you were talking to, but I know for a fact you were talking to me. So, thank you for that
I hope
advice.
it makes
Mm.
sense, because it's such a personal
Yeah.
experience. I have a hard time trying to quantify that. Like it
Mm.
was this and this, as opposed to when I finally checked in
Yeah.
and realized, oh no, this is not what I want.
Yeah.
Right? It was in the middle of the mediation of this. I'm not about to pay another lawyer
Hmm. Yeah.
what should be money going to my children's college
Mm.
fund. I'm
Okay.
not doing that anymore. I'm not
Mhm.
sacrificing that anymore for whatever this game is. I'm not
Yeah.
doing that. Um, and then the next thing was I don't know anybody who
Mhm.
has done this, who has gone to. At that point, I knew people through, like I said, through Exodus Summit, but I didn't know anybody with my particular path, right? With the difficulty that I had
Right.
with um, having a counter parent, and then trying to launch a voiceover career overseas. I didn't know anybody who did
Yeah.
that, and I certainly didn't know any Black women who did it. But I had the faith to believe that I had enough skills, talent, resources to make it happen if I wanted to. And I think that that's where what it comes down to. If you want it and you're clear on what you want,
Yeah.
and you have the faith in yourself to believe that you deserve it, you can make it shake.
Yeah, absolutely. One of I think my biggest message for this podcast and just my message in general, anytime I speak anywhere, is like, you don't have to be stuck, right? A lot of the times we feel like we're stuck in that thing, right? We feel like there's nowhere to go. We feel like, I don't know what to do. have no idea what the next step is, but you're not stuck, right? A lot of times, if you reach out to people, this is from my experience only, right? This is my experience. I know this is not everyone's experience, but when I talk to people, a lot of us have the same experience. A lot of times when you finally take that time to reach out to that one person, right? They are more than happy to help, to extend
Hmm.
resources, to extend
Hmm.
energy, to even extend money. Like,
Hmm.
so a lot of the times it's us being afraid of asking, the power of
Hmm.
asking, right? Don't tell yourself
Hmm.
no. Don't tell yourself no. And you're not stuck. Like, there's always something that you can do. Like, you can literally change your whole life in a matter of minutes, right? And I'm not
Hmm.
trying to say that like it's easy. It's something like you just
Right,
gotta
right,
flip a switch and change your life. No, that's
right.
not what I'm
Look,
saying.
look,
No.
for your life.
No, no,
No,
no.
no,
Right?
not oversimplifying
No, no,
anything.
it don't happen like that. But it can happen quickly, and it can
It comes
happen
down to a
and
decision
absolutely can happen for you. Yeah.
and deciding that what you want is enough to pursue. And I
Mm.
think that's where a lot of us get stuck.
Yeah.
We want something, but then when there are all of these outside forces that tell us it's not viable,
Mhm.
that tell us it's not safe,
Mhm.
that tell us it's silly,
Mhm.
that tell us it's ridiculous, that tell us you can't do that, that tell us whatever their limitations are that they put on themselves, they projected onto us, and then we believe
Yep.
it. What I'm saying is don't believe it.
Yep.
I'm saying that what you want is enough for you to pursue,
Yeah.
and let that be enough. And you don't have to explain it to anybody.
Ah,
You don't have to.
that part.
And one of the listen, I will tell you that one of the toughest lessons I learned in that process of going abroad was to go stealth.
Mm.
That there are some people that you just gotta fly. Don't tell them nothing.
Mhm. Mhm.
You hear me? You hear me? You get your dream.
Mhm.
You flesh out your plan and you protect it
Yeah. Oh.
until you get there, and let your presence there be the testimony. Be the
Yes.
oh, oh, I didn't tell. I
Yeah.
stopped telling people because I started getting too many looks, and I knew that I was built in such a way that I was gravitating toward telling people. I had to check. It was a gut check.
Mm.
I was
Mm.
gravitating toward telling people that I knew would become an obstacle.
Mm.
I had
Mhm.
to check that within myself, that
Mhm.
I'm telling this person because I can anticipate that this person is going to ask me these things that maybe I haven't considered, and that's going to stop me.
Mhm.
And that's going to keep me comfortable right here where I am.
Yep.
When I stop doing that, and I drowned out everything. And because with a move to Mexico, you got to deal with everybody's lack of understanding of what that means,
Mm.
and all the propaganda and all that.
Mm.
Was it going to be safe? Let me tell you something. I felt safer there.
Mm.
I have many places here.
Mm.
And that the
Okay.
truth of the matter is, if you don't have no business with them, you know the them I'm talking about.
Mhm.
They don't have no business with you. You don't have no business with them. They don't have no business with you. And that's not to say that things don't happen, right?
Yeah.
Things happen everywhere we go.
Right.
But for the most part, it wasn't my experience. That the stuff that we see in the movies and on the news is just not
Right.
what I experienced. And not most of the people in my community would say the same.
Mm. Yeah.
Your dream is enough
Mm.
to pursue, to want,
Absolutely.
to flesh out, to see through, and then see what happens. And you're not a tree. You can move.
Mm.
If it doesn't work, you can pivot. You can do something else.
Yes.
But give yourself the opportunity to have all of the things that you envisioned, have all of the things that you want, and surprise yourself.
Oh yeah.
Tell
Oh
you
yeah.
the reality of it is, I woke up one day and I was just kind of experiencing this almost like an out of body experience. I woke up one day, I went out onto my balcony
Mm.
in Puerto Vallarta, my upstairs balcony overlooking my garden, my
Yes.
tropical garden.
Yes.
It is already 80 degrees at 8 o'clock in the morning. I went downstairs, I warmed up, grabbed a quick bite to eat, not too much because I don't like to eat a whole bunch before I record.
Mm.
And I recorded a series of commercials that netted me enough
Mm.
to carry me for the month.
Mm.
And then I took my children to the beach and we spent the rest of the day doing whatever we wanted to do. You couldn't have told me in the thick of experiencing intimate partner violence that was even a possibility.
Mm.
Because I saw so many limitations, I saw so many doors, I
Yeah.
saw so many obstacles. I didn't allow myself to see past what I was going through. But when I did that, when I said no more, when I said this cannot stand, I'm going to do this regardless of what obstacles you try to put in my path.
Mm.
I had an answer for everything, everything. Then I lived a life truly of my dreams.
Mm.
Truly, truly,
Yeah.
truly. I think about it. And if I were to tell someone, that's why I took so many pictures, because if I were to tell someone that this was what I experienced, they would be like, girl, please. But the reality of it is that a woman who had experienced intimate partner violence and crushing grief
Mm.
as a single parent took her children over to Mexico and is now inspiring, created there a collective
Mm.
where other Black women are pursuing something that they always wanted to do but never believed was possible,
Yeah.
and are now working in that profession, in that industry. That really happened. That's really what happened to me.
Yeah.
And that's really what's happening to us. And it all came down to believing that my dream was valid enough to pursue,
Mm. Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. This has been an amazing conversation, and
Sure.
I really
Thank
have
you.
learned so much from you. Um, is there anything that you maybe wanted to talk about that we didn't get to?
No, I think that's all. Just I really do want people to understand that even in this time where people are trying to invalidate our history,
Mm.
our experiences, our being, our
Hmm.
education, um, that you don't have to seek validation outside of yourself.
Mm. Yeah.
What you want,
Absolutely.
what you want to do, what you see for yourself, what you allow yourself. You go to get into a quiet space and really just allow yourself to dream,
Mm.
and then make a plan, a practical plan that allows you to work toward that.
Yeah.
And don't let anything distract you. Don't let anything distract you. And so for us, when we're working in my group, that's 15 minutes a day. And then that 15 minutes can expand. It will eventually, but start there. Start there with committing to whatever it is,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't have to be voiceover. If it's, like I said, it's this weight loss struggle, right? If it's 15, you're going to work out for 15 minutes. Come what may, come hell or high water, you're going to do this thing for 15 minutes every single day. You don't need a day off. Every single day. It doesn't have to be as strenuous, right? You
Right.
don't have to do so. Like with exercise, it doesn't have to, I'm learning. It doesn't have to be, a hit routine every single day.
Right.
But it needs to be something every single day, just so you don't get to the point where you're convincing yourself, oh, I need a break. You don't need a break. You're fine.
And I like
You'll
that
be fine.
example of working out too, because you're working out different parts of your body, right? Like you
Different
do
parts of your
arms, you're
body.
doing legs, you're doing
You could do yoga
cardio,
one
right?
day.
Like, mm-hmm.
Another day. You could just do meditation.
Mm.
That's in and of itself a workout. That's a mental
Mm-hmm.
workout. But just something for you
Yeah.
every single day. So you get to the point where you are prioritizing yourself.
Mhm.
You are allowing yourself to dream. You
Mhm.
are allowing yourself to see the best version of you and then work toward that
Yeah.
and allow that to be enough.
Yeah.
You don't have to share it with anybody. Treat it like it's precious. As a matter of fact, treat it like it's precious. Keep something for yourself
Yeah.
until it manifests. And then people can see the results. You don't have
You
to
don't
talk
gotta
about the
talk
results.
about
Let
it.
them see it.
Exactly.
Let them see it.
Absolutely. If you're interested in working with Cassandra, please visit her website or hit her up on social media. Go ahead and reach out. Everything is listed in the show notes, so make sure you check them out.